Welcome back to the Fanspeak Network. If this is your first time joining us, thank you so much. And please be sure to subscribe. We just started the channel. We're trying to grow it. So please subscribe and tell your friends. And this is the very first episode of Sibling Rivalry, the Daily Fantasy Edition. That's right. I'm with my brother, Steve Shoup. And we both love playing daily fantasy. So we figured it's perfect name, Sibling Rivalry. And today, of course, we're talking about the biggest game of the year, Super Bowl 56. We're going to talk bets. We're going to talk daily fantasy showdown. So let's get right to it. So, Steve, I know you're pumped for the Super Bowl. Who are you picking for Super Bowl 56?
Well, I do think it's going to be a great game, and I honestly wouldn't be surprised if either team wins, but I'm going with the underdog here. I'm going with Cincinnati Bengals. I think they just kind of have that moxie, that team to beat, team destiny type mentality, and we've just seen Joe Burrow. Look, he did it in college with LSU, and he's doing it in the NFL. He went into the number 1 and number 2 seeds houses in these playoffs and just beat them. Nobody really gave the Bengals credit for either one of those games, and he just went in and beat them despite some bad conditions with Tennessee, all those sacks that the Titans were getting, and then in the Chiefs game, I mean, they were down 11 at halftime, come back no problem. So this is just a team that I think led with Joe Burrow and that amazing offense and some a sneakily good defense can get the job done on Sunday.
Okay. If someone told me that the Bengals won on Monday morning, if someone told me the Bengals won, I would not be surprised at all. But I am picking the Rams. I think the experience, the defensive line against that Bengals offensive line that is kind of their Achilles heel. And, they did kind of put the dream team together here. Odell looks great. Obviously, Kupp has been the fantasy stud of the whole entire year, and I don't see that slowing down. So again, I think it's going to be really close. The one thing I'm confident about, whether it's low scoring or high scoring, is I think it's going to be a very close game. But I'm going to go with the Rams here. But what do you say? Let's get into some sports bets. We both like sports betting. You are lucky and live in Virginia, and you live in Virginia, so you get to do it whatever you want. I have to drive to a state line, so I will be driving to Pennsylvania. I've already put in some bets in Virginia a week ago. I'm driving to the state line to Pennsylvania on Saturday, putting in the rest of my Super Bowl sports bets. So let's talk about sports bets, and let's each give three. How about that? So what is your first prop bet? So just three of your favorite prop bets. What's your first prop bet for the Super Bowl?
So my first prop bet, going back to what we were just talking about the Bengals and this incredible offense, is their stud receiver, Jamar Chase. Right now on DraftKings Sportsbook, you can get over 5.5 receptions. There's a little extra juice there, minus 155, but I just think he's going to be a focal point of this offense. I think they're going to find a way to get the ball in his hands. We see even in these lower scoring games like the Titans game, like the Chiefs game, when they were kind of keeping him in check, he still got 9 targets in those types of games. They're going to throw screens, they're going to do slants, they'll take deep shots. He can just do it all. So I just think 5.5 is a very low number for him in the biggest game of the season. And I think that he'll easily get over that.
Okay. My first one makes me sound really boring, but you want fireworks to happen in the Super Bowl, but I actually don't have the data in front of me, but a lot of Super Bowls start slow and a lot of Super Bowls go under the first half. And I like the first half under. Joe Burrow, he has a ton of moxie. Is Joe cool? But he's only in his second season. Matthew Stafford, a veteran, I think he's turning 34 this year, but this is really his first playoff run in his first Super Bowl. I can see some nerves here to start the game. Even in Tom Brady's Super Bowl, I want to say they hit the more under in the first half more often than not. Again, I'd have to pull the stats on all that, but give me the first half under. I really, really feel probably most confident in that at all the prop bets I like.
I like that one a lot. I really do. I think we could see offense and the overall game total could go over, but I think the first half is more likely to go under.
Sure.
But with it getting to be a shootout later in the game, that's where my second prop comes in. I like Odell Beckham Jr. over 63.5 receiving yards. Again, we've just seen him as since he's come with the Rams, he's getting more and more involved in this offense. It seems likely that Tyler Higbee will not play, so that could just lead a couple more targets to him. And I think that's a low over/under for him. So I really like that number for him a lot, and I would not be surprised to see him get 90 to 100 plus yards.
I'm right in line with you. I love that. I love Odell Beckham to play a big role in this game, and I'm right there with you on him. I'm going to go with the receiver on the other side. It's kind of funny because you picked the Bengals to win, I picked the Rams to win, and two of our favorite receiver props are kind of flipped. But give me Tyler Boyd over 40.5 yards. It's minus 105 on DK Sportsbook. I'm even interested in the over 4.5 receptions for Tyler Boyd. You can get a little more juice on that at plus 130 on DK Sportsbook. I'm interested in that because, again, we don't know what the Rams are going to do to try to stop Chase. They're obviously going to throw something at controlling Jamar Chase. And again, I don't think you're going to be able to totally control him. And then you've got Higgins, and you do have Mazoma likely coming back, but at what, is he at full strength? Is he 100%? I still like Tyler Boyd to kind of work underneath and work the middle of the field and be a quick outlet for Joe Burrow when he's being pressured by that very fierce defensive line. So I kind of, Tyler Boyd kind of really burned me in the last couple weeks of the playoffs. I had some high hopes for him there, and he did not live up to expectations. So, but I'm going back to the well here, and I like both of Tyler Boyd's over for receptions and yards.
No, I think Boyd will need to be involved if the Bengals are to win this game. So I like that as well. For my last one, I'm going to go back to something I said a little earlier, and that is the Bengals sack issue. And they do give up a lot of sacks. Their offensive line is definitely their weak point, and the Rams can't get after it. But the Bengals defense, they had 42 sacks on the year. I know they're missing a couple guys, but they still have Trey Hendrickson. He's their stud pass rusher. And I like the over of 5.5 sacks in this game.
Love that.
On DK right now, it's plus 110. I think, yes, the Rams did not give up a lot of sacks throughout the year, but we did see in some of their tougher matchups when they faced some defenses who could get after it, a sack or two. So I think that's going to be likely. And I also think, both quarterbacks might get the little talk of their coach, like it's better to take a sack than throw a bad interception. So,
right.
So I think we could see that a little bit also. And like you talked about earlier, just like kind of the nerves early on could play a factor. So I like the over sack number 5.5 for sure.
We're very much in line here, Steve, so far. So not much sibling rivalry going on the betting side. I'm going to go similar to the sacks. I'm going to go to another type of bet that's not necessarily a player prop, and I'm going to do over 3.5 made field goals in the game. Now, these are two stud kickers. These are two offenses that can move the ball, but coaches that aren't necessarily going to push it on a fourth down when they know they can take the points. So it's kind of like a coach play calling thing in a combination with obviously kicking indoors and two kickers that are very good. I mean, McPherson is having, just an amazing run. So both kickers are studs. I think the situation sets up where they could move the ball but stall out, and then kicking indoors, you're just, bonus there. So I really love the over 3.5 field goals made, which is plus 105 on DK Sportsbook. Also, I do kind of love the run that McPherson's on. I like the over 7.5 points for McPherson too. I think that's a fun one as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's a pretty good one. Kicking, if it's a close game, I think that's very likely to hit. If you end up one side getting out to a big lead, then the other team might be forced to go for two or go for it on those fourth downs. But I agree, in a close game, which I think this will be, having 4 total field goals is very, very doable.
Oh, absolutely. Did you see? I think there was some boost on, I believe, both sportsbook about like a walk-off kick. I forget what the number was. I saw that. And then I think there was one specifically for McPherson, but I think there was one for either kicker to have a walk-off kick. So that's
considering how many playoff games we saw end that way, I mean, it's not a bad bet. So
that's not unlikely.
And we've also seen some very iconic Super Bowls with last-second field goals. Adam Vinatieri did that multiple times. quite a few others. The Bills miss Steve Norwood. Some go the wrong way as well.
Yeah,
But
depending which fan you are. Yeah.
but we've definitely seen a lot of games, Super Bowls, come down to a last second kick. So
Yeah, and like you said, the playoffs, my goodness, there's been, I mean, what was it? The conference championship weekend, everyone walked off with some kind of walk-off win. Then three of them were on field goals, I believe.
yeah.
Or
So
divisional weekend, sorry.
divisional weekend. Yep.
Um, okay, well now Steve, let's shift over to Showdown. Steve and I have been playing DraftKings and FanDuel daily fantasy for about 9 years now. We play all the types of contests. I actually have a tiers show, which I love the tiers contest. We play classic, we play short slates, full slates, but we do love Showdown, and we've both had a little success in Showdown. I actually won the Super Bowl with 700 of my closest friends last year, so I chopped it and split. But hey, I still won. Still won a little chunk of change. So that was fun. Steve won the opening game, the NFL kickoff game this year between the Bucks and the Cowboys. Again, I think chopped with some of your friends you've never met before, but we've had some success with Showdown. So we figured, we're not going to talk through some, big picture strategies. We're just going to talk about plays that we like or players that we like. And obviously in the captain and in the flex, everybody knows Cooper Kupp is the obvious choice. He is most expensive and he's going to be the highest owned, but there's a very good reason for that. His floor ceiling combo is insane, and I'd likely see him getting there in this game. So I don't think we have to really go deep diving on Cooper Kupp. Would you agree there? I mean,
No.
play the guy, right?
Yeah.
Let's play him. And again, if you're playing him in captain, you may want to try to get unique other places in that lineup because that's going to be pretty common. To try to split with left people if you win it all. But I'm very interested in having a lot of him in captain and a lot of him in my flex. So let's talk about your favorite non-Cooper Kupp captain. Then you can kind of give me an honorable mention. Who's your favorite captain besides Cooper Kupp?
Well, I'm going to go with the stud receiver on the opposite side, Jamar Chase. He didn't have the consistency that Kupp did, obviously, but he has the ability for just massive ceiling games, and he is a touchdown maker, a big play guy. He can also, he's not necessarily going to rack up 10 catches. He only did that once or twice this year, but the yardage is going to be there, so you get the bonus there. One or two touchdowns definitely possible. We see Burrow looking his way anytime they're near the red zone. So I just love Jamar Chase as my captain.
Oh yeah, he's got absolute slate breaking potential. We've seen that so many times this season, and I haven't seen ownership yet. And we subscribe to multiple sites that do supply ownership projections. I haven't seen it yet. I wonder if he might be lower on if it's like a pay up to be contrarian because Higgins is priced so much more affordable. What do you? Do you have a take on his? I don't know. We'll find out later in the week what the ownership is looking for Chase and the captain. But I could see it being a little lower just because he's expensive.
Well, no, and I think just because he's only a couple hundred less than Burrow and Stafford, I think you could have people who just feel like might as well play the quarterback there. They're a little safer. I don't think it's always the most optimal to play the quarterback and the captain, but or getting a couple thousand more and getting all the way up to Kupp. So I feel Chase could be in that weird zone. Where he'll get owned a lot in the flex positions, but I don't know if he'll be the primary captain for a lot of people.
Sure. So give me who's your honorable mention, who's like non-Kupp captains, and then after Chase, who's your next favorite captain that you see yourself using?
So, for me, it kind of comes down to Higgins or Beckham. Both have the targets you want. Both have big playability. Neither has been a consistent enough touchdown producer to have the higher 25 to 35 or even higher point consistently ceilings that you want for your captain. But I'm going to go with Odell Beckham here. I mentioned him with the betting. Like, we've just seen him get a larger and larger role. And what he's been basically missing, we just saw him get a 100-yard game against the 49ers. He didn't have a touchdown. If he gets that touchdown also, he's off to the races, so to speak. And I think it's also very good leverage to not using Cup in the captain, because if Beckham either outscores them or the point totals between the two are very close, and you're getting that savings that then allows you to get Cup and like a Chase in your flex. Because if you have Cup in the captain, it's going to be much tougher to have the stronger flex options. So you get a huge chunk of savings off Cup, and I think gives pretty good leverage off Cup, who's likely to be the most owned in the captain.
Right. Well, I guess my first one, I will kind of tail on what you were saying, and I agree with you on Higgins. Just like Beckham is kind of the 1B to Cup's 1A, so is Higgins to Chase. And you are saving a lot of money there too. I just read a stat today that the Rams play a lot of zone coverage, and Higgins versus man and versus zone, he does has a much higher success rate and does much better against zone. And again, if they do find a way to control Chase somehow, I think Higgins and Boyd could be big beneficiaries of that. So give me Higgins as number one, and then give me his teammate number two. Again, it's kind of funny. I said I like the Rams to win, but I like these guys as captain. That doesn't mean that I still don't see the Rams winning in a game script with Higgins in the captain or Boyd in the captain. You do have to tell a story when you build the lineup, but I like both of them in the captain because it really gives you some salary savings to get Cup in and to do some unique things. So I like Higgins. I think Boyd's going to be a little, again, we need to see ownership could be a little lower owned because he hasn't had a very impressive, playoffs. But again, I do think he could be utilized underneath, and his price is just right to let you get in a lot. So I'd say Higgins, one, Boyd, two, and I'll give you a third. If you want to get really weird, give me one of the kickers, and I'm going to say Evan McPherson. It has to be just the right game script. But if you get McPherson the captain, and it doesn't happen often, but if the kicker gets 15 18 points, he kicks a couple bombs of 50-yard field goals, or they kick, he has like 4 made field goals and some at long distance, and he's getting 15 to 18 points. That might be what you need depending on how high scoring a game and depending on how concentrated the rest of the fantasy points go. If the fantasy points are very spread out, that's probably not going to work. But if the fantasy points are really concentrated, then on like 4 or 5 other guys that are pretty pricey, you're going to need that savings. And then if the kicker gets there, that's how it can work. I'm going to take a couple shots with that too. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah, no, I don't think kicker works much in anything large field, but in smaller field, and if the points are concentrated, if Cup has 24 points and Beckham has 22 and Chase 21, you want all of them in your lineups, because and there's no like cheap punts elsewhere, no P Ryans, no Ben
Right.
Skronicks or guys like that. Then yeah, and if McPherson kicks four four field goals and an extra point or something along those lines. So yeah, it can work. I think you need the right game script, and even in very large field, I think it will be tough, just because then just so many lineups would have, like I just mentioned, a scenario where there's like 3 receivers who have more points than McPherson.
Right.
There's just so many lineups then that have those guys in the captain, and you're getting that 1.5 times. So, but yeah, I definitely think kickers are in play for flex. Captain's a little tougher, but in the right game script, if this game is more of a field goal battle or more closer to the under or does hit the under, then sure, I think kickers can work.
Okay. Well, I think we've, kind of talked out some of our favorite bets, some of our favorite, showdown plays. Any last thoughts for Super Bowl 56? Any same game parlays? Anything you're really liking that you want to try to get some action on before this weekend?
I'm definitely going to be playing multiple props, multiple same game parlays.
Sure.
I think I really like um, uh, the Rams running backs like hitting some of the unders. I saw Cam Akers like 16 and a half carries. It sounds like Henderson might be back. We don't know Akers' status. So
Right.
things like that. I feel like that could be a very mixed backfield. Mixin,
Yeah, I'm not sure what to
I
do
think,
there.
yeah, I don't like his rushing yardage number, but I think he'll probably get the touches, and I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a touchdown. So he's a little tougher one for me, but I like the Rams running backs under for their usage and stuff like that.
Okay. One last question. Cooper Cup's the most obvious anytime touchdown. If you had to pick another one to like, whether it was a standalone bet or within a same game parlay, who's your favorite anytime touchdown again, non Cooper Cup?
Well, I think Chase and Mixon. I mean, most of the Bengals touchdowns go through those two
Sure.
guys. So I think either one of those are a good guy to add to like a same game parlay and gain a touchdown for sure.
Yeah, and I'll mix in um, Beckham and Boyd to that. I mean, I think, excuse me, I meant Beckham and Higgins, but Boyd could too. I mean, again, I think he's more likely for the catches underneath, but I'll mix in Beckham and Higgins to that. If you're doing some same game parlays, I think all those guys, have the potential. And that's what when we were talking about Showdown. That's why it's so hard to like look for those punt guys. Usually in Showdown, you can find somebody in the like under 2,000, under 1,000. And both these teams really don't utilize the those kind of tertiary players. So makes it tough, makes it interesting. It'll be really interesting to
Yeah,
see how this shakes out on, for the Showdown this weekend. So
agreed.
thank you so much for joining me, Steve. I really appreciate it. This is a fun first sibling rivalry. There will be many more once the NFL season gets going again, end of the summer, and then next fall we will really be ramping up this show and having a lot of sibling rivalry, daily fantasy, and sports betting conversations. But until then, I wish you all a very fun and safe Super Bowl. Go make some good bets, make some good showdown lineups. Good luck, win some money. And again, before you get out of here, please like this episode and subscribe to our channel. Thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.
Good luck, everyone.